जय जय श्री राधे। So Vaishnav को सादर और सप्रेम जय श्री कृष्ण। Shri Vallabhadhi Ki Jai Ho. Continuing the reading of the biographies of the 252 Vaishnava disciples of Sri Gosaiji. It's day 93 of the readings. It is Varta 69 continued and into Varta 70. How might I best use this in the service of the Lord? How will Sri Gosaiji ever accept me? What is the best way? He replied, listen, because your background is tainted, the way may be difficult. However, let me say what comes to mind. If you do this, Sri Thakurji should accept you. Oh, please do tell me, she piped up. You should go to a big town and search out all sorts of unusual fruits, nuts and vegetables that are new, or the very best quality and not necessarily in season. Or keep one man to go and fetch such items. Protect the items from polluting touch, considering them all to belong to the Lord and to be for his service only. Protect them from the touch of impure water or things. Don't ever let them come under your feet or be touched by your or anyone else's saliva drops. Keep your hands washed and pure with clean water. Wash the fruit in very clean water and protect it in every way. If any old customer comes, show them lesser stuff and charge them double for it. If Sri Gosaiji's Vaishnavas come, show them the very best stuff and ask them for just half of the going price. Seeing the quality and the low price, they will most certainly buy from you. In this way, your body and your wealth will both be purified. They will always buy your stuff. Then Sri Gosaiji might ask, where did you get such fine quality items? They will mention your name, saying, Oh Maharaj, there is one Kunjari who sits near the door. I got them from her. She charges good prices and tells the truth. Hearing this, Sri Gosaiji should become pleased with you. Do this all the time, and in a few days all your wealth will be accepted by the Lord, and so will your body. Then you should repent, thinking, I am capable of nothing. What use is this body of mine? The Lord will sense your feelings. He is capable of everything and anything. After hearing these instructions, the Kunjari did exactly that. She sought out and fetched all sorts of unusual items. The Vaishnavas would see them and tell Sri Gosaiji that such and such items were available, and Sri Gosaiji would ask them to bring some to him. The Vaishnavas would buy them, and she would accept half the price. Sri Gosaiji and the Vaishnavas were extremely pleased with the items, knowing that they could not be obtained anywhere else. They began to place orders for certain items with her. It was not too long before her savings ran out. All of them had been used in the Lord's Seva. She then began to feel very bad that she could now do nothing more, that she would not mind just dropping dead. She was overwhelmed with grief. If any Vaishnava came there, she would say, they are not my things, and they would turn away. She then felt extra sad. Feeling like this as she did, she could not eat or drink much, and after some days she became very weak. She stopped eating and drinking altogether. In total desolation, she just lay around. No one so much as asked her. Then one day, Sri Gosaiji suddenly remembered, those beautiful fruits that we used to get are not coming anymore. A Vaishnava informed him, Oh Maharaj, that good-hearted Kunjari is on her deathbed with only a day or two left. She is a lovely lady who is always very happy to hear your name. One day after that, Sri Gosaiji was on his way to Sri Yamunaji after completing his midday seva. By then, the Kunjari was really suffering, could no longer speak. Old and young were standing around her. Sri Gosaiji asked why the crowd had gathered. A Vaishnava spoke up. Oh Maharaj, that is that Kunjari's market stall from where we used to get the fruit and vegetables that you always praised. She's on the point of death and very ill. She cannot even speak. The crowd have come to watch her. Hearing this, Sri Gosaiji, who is the shelter for those who have none, and an ocean of compassion, went over there. The crowd cleared a space. When she saw Sri Gosaiji, the Kunjari bowed her head at his feet and said, Oh Maharaj, I have no shelter other than these feet. I truly have no other place. You are the Lord himself, a great being. You know what is true and what is not. You are the witness of the soul. You know what is in my mind and what is the point of saying anything. My honour is in your hands. Do with me whatever you see fit. There is no more that needs to be said. I come from a very fallen family, so for this also I have nothing to say. She began to cry. Sri Gosaiji consoled her, saying, I know the intention of your heart. Do not worry about anything. The Lord is all capable. Saying this, he whispered the 8-syllable mantra of refuge into her ear. He had some Vaishnavas fetch the water in which Sri Govardhanaji's feet had been washed, Mahaprasad, his own foot water, and one flower garland. He gave all these to her and left the banks of the Sri Yamunaji river. As she left, the Kunjari had the holy sight of Sri Gosaiji as Sri Govardhanaji together with Sri Swaminiji. After this, Sri Gosaiji went back to the temple. She began to burn up with the pain of separation, which became unbearable. unbearable and she left her body. Sri Gosaiji heard this news and he had her last rites performed. He announced, now there are no other obstacles to her returning to the divine Leela. The Kunjari then was reborn in a Brahmin family in Mahawan and thus was destined to reach her transcendental goal. Vav Prakash. This Varta teaches us that the Lord is most merciful. The Lord himself remembers those who take exclusive refuge in him and remain at his door. If such a soul performs even a tiny bit of service, he regards it as a lot. Sri Gosaiji is kind like this too. Vaishnavas should not hesitate to surrender to him and thus should always associate with accomplished Vaishnavas. Thus concludes Varta 69, the story of one Kunjari who was the recipient of great grace and an accomplished Vaishnava. There is no real end to her story. Continuing on to Varta 70, the story of two Rakshasas named Hatit and Patit who lived in a thicket on the banks of the river Mahi. Part 1. Hatit and Patit lived in the land of Gujarat in a place called Mahikant, which in a very narrow little pathway in a holy fig tree. One day, some Vaishnavas were travelling to Chacha Harivamshi from Gujarat to Srinatadwala. They lost their way and found themselves in that narrow place. The two Rakshas came down from the tree and stood in front of the Vaishnavas. They seemed to be even larger than a huge mountain. The Vaishnavas, quite scared, asked each other, "Oh, brother, where did these two come from? Who are they?" They then asked Chachaji, "Who are these two standing in front of us and blocking our way?" Chachaji went and asked them, "Who are you? Why are you standing here?" Hatit and Patit answered, "We are Rakshas and we are going to eat you. We have come down here just to eat you." Chachaji addressed them, "Well, why are you standing there? Get on with eating us then." Hatit and Patit replied, "We feel some burning sensation when we come near you. This is why we have not eaten you. We can't get close enough to you." Chacha again asked them, "So why are you blocking our way? You will never be able to eat us. In our bodies the Lord of 14 worlds resides. Get out of our way now." The two Rakshas said, "You are a great Vaishnava and a devotee of the Lord. You are an elevated man. We have come here just to have your sight. Now we have seen you and we have some realizations. Please uplift us before you continue your journey. Please release us from the pain of being born as Rakshas." Chacha Harivamshi said, "Go to that river and bathe, then come back." The two brother Rakshas bathed and came back, then stood before Chachaji. He pronounced the 8-syllable mantra in their ear. He gave them both tulsi necklaces to wear. He put water that had washed the Lord's feet and Mahaprasad into their mouths. At that very moment they left the demonic bodies and attained divine effulgent bodies. They both fell at Chacha Harivamshi's feet and stood before him with folded hands. The two brothers supplicated, You are a greatly accomplished Vaishnava. Otherwise, who else could have liberated us from these demonic bodies? There is no one like you in the 3 worlds. We have nothing that is good to give you." They continued in this vein. Then, due to the power of Sri Gosaiji's blessings, the messengers of Sri Thakurji came and took them back into the eternal Leela. Sab Vaishnavan ko sadhara saprem. Jai Shri Krishna. We will continue this Varta 70 tomorrow. Jai Jai Shri Radhe.